Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we talk about the classic series Quantum Leap. And today is a very, very special episode because this is the 22nd episode of Season 5, which is basically the series finale, Mirror Image. And it's also special because for the first time in a while, we have the entire crew here again. And I'm just really excited about that. So, very quickly, I'm going to do my intros. Yeah, people are excited here. This is the full panel. The whole gang is here. That's all true. So very quickly, Ro, he is the host of the Sacrif Podcast. He's also the co-founder of the Red 5 Network, which is a network of other podcasters. And he's a broadcast news veteran. He deals with the technical side behind the scenes, provides that kind of input. How's it going, Ro?
It's going good. I'm so
Wonderful.
happy to be here.
Okay, I'm happy you're here too. Next, we have the Script Doctor. Script Doctor is a veteran screenwriter. He works in the industry. He has his own Patreon where he teaches screenwriting. He also has his own show once a week, which he does on his own channel. It's called Scripts on Saturdays. It's every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and he and a guest go over a screenplay that is either has already been picked up by a major studio, has been considered by major studios. It's on a list where these kind of big screenplays are considered. He goes over it with a guest. They analyze them. Really wonderful show. How's it going, Script?
It's going great. I was so happy to be able to join you guys tonight. We finished production early, so I was thrilled. I was praying we'd be able to do this show today.
I'm thrilled too. Like, I didn't even think I was. If it would have been just me, I would have been happy too. But I'm much happier. I actually wouldn't have been happy if it was just me, but I'm much happier that you're all here. Next, we have Sean, who hasn't been here for a while as well. Sean is an artist. He has his own comic book called Smacked in the Head, and he also has his own channel, and he does cool drawings and things. How's it going, Sean?
Good.
Oh, you seem very excited. Especially excited. And finally, of course, we have Nick. He's a minister in his local town, also the locksmith, also the consultant to the sheriff and the fire department. He also raises goats on his ranch, and he's an expert in science fiction, and he has his own channel where he talks about science fiction. Nick, how's it going?
Going good now that we're here.
So yeah, we got through it. I did the best I could with the intros as fast as I could, and now that's it. We have Mirror Image, and we're here in this final episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
don't forget to say just a quick hello to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. It's been a couple of years since we started this, and I'm super excited that I was able to share this with this lovely bunch of guys up here in the panel, and obviously everyone in the chat.
I am excited about the chat as well. They are very, very crucial part. Professor R2 has given us a 199 super sticker. Thank you, Professor. Professor is my co-host on the Night Owl, and I'm always grateful for his support. In any case, so this is after 5 seasons of Sam leaping around, finally he arrives in a place that seemingly he's himself. And I guess before we jump in and start looking at the episode, maybe just in a sentence each person can say, like, and just in a sentence, initial thought about the episode. Ro, what did you think about it?
After watching the episode, I had to kind of read a little bit about it. So I really enjoyed how they ended it. And I know they didn't think it was going to end, but as an ending, I think it worked. But I think I enjoyed it a lot more because of the symbolism of the episode and a lot of the elements in the episode, and we'll get into it when we're there. but I really liked it.
Nice. Script, how did you feel about this episode?
It's bittersweet in all the right ways. We'll get into some of the really funny details of this episode as the conversation proceeds. But yeah, it's what an ending, and also you wish there was a 6th season to follow up with
Absolutely.
that turn. Yeah.
The Dead Man with the 99-cent super sticker. Thank you, The Dead Man. I agree with you, Script. Sean, what did you think about this episode, just in one sentence?
It was good. I liked it when I saw it as a kid, and I'm looking forward to catching up with 2 seasons to catch up with this one.
All right, good to know. Nick, what did you think?
I thought this was a good episode. There was a few things that I would change, but I thought it was a really good episode, and I thought it left it in a way that if the show would have got renewed, they could have picked it up, but it also could play as the finale, or it could have led to a TV movie. I think they did a good job making you feel like it was a series finale, but also still open to continuation. And sadly, that didn't happen, but it also didn't feel like we just left on a middle random episode.
Lisa Katrine says, I was so disappointed that he didn't make it home. That's fair. Marks for 7 reminds people they spelled his name wrong. It is true. It was very hasty, those titles at the end, and they misspelled his name, which is very, very strange, but that did happen.
No, it's just a different guy.
Yeah, right. It's a different
Right,
guy.
it's not
an
him.
alternate universe. Yeah.
Leaves us guessing. But yeah, and I also agree with what you guys said. I feel like this was a perfect setup where it could have been anything. It could have just ended and that's it. It could have been a TV movie that revisits it later, and it could have been a season 6. And that was smart thinking. I think that under the circumstances and under the pressure that Donald Belisario was under, I think that this was a relatively smart way to handle it, I think. But let's jump in. I'm going to share the screen. Share screen. Only the best technology. Okay. So we are here.
Mute.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
mute it.
And in
And
Biggin.
it's interesting. It's like an episode that just he's here. That's it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like there's no
There's
we'll
no
be the
Ziggy.
leap home. They just like screw that. It's true though. They just like let it go. They just didn't care about it. So he walks in. He goes to the bartender. Bartender asks him, "Do you want a drink? Do you want this? Do you want a schooner?" And of course, it's the guy that we recognized from the first episode, who was
Ernie.
I think the base psychiatrist, in my opinion. But he's a known actor. That's probably why they brought him.
Yeah,
I
that's Bruce
love
McGill.
him, and he was perfect for this.
Perfect for this.
Oh yeah.
And then he sees he's himself, which is kind of cool. That is a cool opening. We haven't seen that yet. It's
Right.
like it's what we've wanted to see for 5 seasons, but we never saw it.
Well, we've only ever seen him look at young Sam in the mirror that one episode.
That was as close as we got, that he saw young Sam. So yeah, this is very cool. And then another cool thing is they actually went back to the original theme song.
Yep.
There was no upbeat 90s New Jack City jazz. What's it called?
Yeah.
Is New Jack City a thing?
It was
I
a
mean,
movie.
it is that just this one was more like kind of like more of an orchestral kind of amphitheater performance version. We got the classic,
The
opening
classic
theme.
version.
I meant to ask you guys about that because I heard a theme song the other day and it sounded like the A-Team or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this last season they changed
The last season they changed the theme until this episode where they're just like, screw it as well. Let's just put the original theme back. And I'm really happy they did. I think it's very proper that they did that. Then you have the opening, and then he's here and he looks at himself. And I also think it's interesting is that like, look, I look older. I have white hair. Look at my eyes, like my crow's feet and all that stuff. And really like Jack Dalton's performance here. Bruce McGill. Sorry. He's always Jack Dalton to me, but I really like Bruce McGill here. kind of not giving him a lot of information, but you always feel like he knows more than what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Yeah.
I feel like every character he plays is kind of like that. He's always has like something in his back pocket.
That's true. I agree with you. Mirror Image, August 8th, 1953. It's Sam's birthday. I feel like initially, didn't they say he had a different birthday? Didn't they kind of retcon his birthday differently?
I don't know. 'Cause I think you might be confusing the one episode where he leapt before he was born, but he was in his mom's womb. He's like, she was in the third trimester.
I see.
Because it was like April 53. I think that was the earliest he's gone to before he leapt into his great grandfather.
John D'Aquino is actually the guy that plays the brother of Jimmy.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool because I was starting to read the credits and I'm like, oh, I recognize these names from previous episodes.
I really appreciated that they reference episodes that I've actually watched. Like they
That's
don't
good,
reference.
yeah.
They mostly don't. Well, not that I'm aware of. It's all like season 3 and earlier.
Well, the one with Jimmy and his brother, Sean, I don't think you were here for that, but they revisited that episode.
Oh, no, I wasn't here
The
for that.
season
Yeah,
with
they did.
the Leaper. So I think that was an especially important one to show because it had been twice. So I think
Right.
it was a pivotal one.
Spoiler.
And Richard Hurd was the Captain Galaxy one actor,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
nice to see him. W.
I would
Morgan
have
Shepard,
I
I
would have
don't
liked
remember.
the Guardian Angel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would have been fun to have her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of too bad they didn't bring her. She would have been interesting here.
She could have been the waitress.
True. No, it would have also been interesting if she actually arrived as herself and now like she was here. I think that could have been a cool idea, but
Might have tipped the hat too early, though.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
it would have been to ruin the mystery because if she's already here, you already know. I don't know.
Well, this episode gave me very much vibes of that episode of Lost where they were starting to hint that it was all in Hurley's head.
Yeah.
Oh, I've only ever seen the
Misdirect, because
first
you're
episode,
seeing all
last
this stuff,
episode.
you as the audience, that somehow this is actually in Sam's head, and he hasn't been. It almost for a little bit there, you're like, oh, this is where that came from, and this is where the name Gushy came from, and the name Ziggy came from, and so there's a little bit where they're almost playing it up like Sam's starting to say, "Am I going crazy?"
Mm.
Right. Mike Genovese, by the way, and I recognize him throughout the episode. He was in that early episode with the mobster, the one with "If I'm lying, I'm dying." Like
Yeah,
the-
yeah. He's
So he was the bad guy, and he's here. He appears as like the inspector.
Irish,
I don't know what it is.
he's the Irish mine owner. Yeah.
Right. This one is kind of a giveaway that they have that here a bit because
Mhm.
it's like, it's the actress that plays Beth.
Yep.
Dan Butler, that sounds familiar. Every single person here is-
Dan Butler was from the episode of the radio show with because he's the same guy that's in Frasier, but he was also, oh God, what Quantum Leap episode was he in? Oh, I know this one. Aside from,
because he was in Southern Comforts, I think.
think so.
Maybe he was the police officer in Southern Comforts. I'm not sure. Or maybe he was the bad guy. Who even knows?
Jack Dorlac. He played Jack Dorlac. So he was. Oh yeah. No, he was the husband who was looking for his wife. That's what it was.
Yeah, he was a bad guy. Here, I don't think
Yeah.
he plays a bad guy, but
No,
it's
he
okay.
doesn't. None of the miners are bad guys here.
And then they don't actually mention, I think Jimmy is here too, that actor. But in any case,
Yeah.
The writer here, in case Tex was wondering, it's written by Donald P. Belisario, Donnie P. himself, directed by James Whitmore. We've seen that name several times by now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I guess he's like considered a steady hand. This guy walks in, he has a drink and then goes to the line. That's what these guys do.
Also a
And-
well-known character actor.
Yep.
And Don Belisario's son is back in this.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
this is him?
Yeah, that's the kid.
Well, they needed some kids.
Well, those are two of the kids that played Sam's kids from his multiple polygamy episode.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. It's cool. So many Easter eggs, and then it's like
mean-
Al's place.
Yeah, like this is literally like a series reunion episode.
Yeah. Without them knowing it, really.
Right. Also, I think that didn't he say that guy's name was Gushy, and that he had bad breath, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like how can
Yeah.
it be that his name is actually Gushy and Al? Don't you think it's a coincidence?" He's like, "Oh, well, that happens a lot."
He's like, yeah, maybe Al's a common name. Yeah, but not Gushy. No, it ain't. It's just,
He's like, no, it isn't.
And then this guy walks in. This guy that's
Stappa.
named called like Stappa.
yeah.
Is this a known actor? Because I don't think I saw him in the
He's in a
credits. but-
lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a known character actor. That is Stephen McCaddy. Oh God, he's been in he's still working today.
It seemed like I've seen him.
He's
in
been in
places.
over like 200 things. Gosh, like trying to think of something like big that you've probably seen him in.
I must have seen him. He always and he always plays this kind of shady character. Like,
But it's kind of important to the plot that he's not somebody that's a returning person.
right?
Yeah, like
He's in Shoot 'Em Up.
yeah, he was in Shoot 'Em Up, which is a great movie. Go watch that. He was in the remake of Death Wish with Bruce Willis.
Oh,
He was in 12 Monkeys as the senator in the television show.
yes. I think I know now. Now that is starting to make sense. By the way, that thing with Bruce Willis, I think most people didn't like that remake, but I actually enjoyed it. I don't know why. I sat in the theater, I watched it, and I said, you know what? I didn't mind this movie.
That's Eli Roth's remake, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, he should stop making movies.
He has another one coming.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So this is Frank, and here he's called something else, and he's talking about his brother. Do you have a brother that's kind of a mental
Special?
And he's
Down
trying to like
syndrome,
dance
Down
around,
syndrome,
like the worst explanation. He's doing it really badly, and the guy's like, "Hey, don't talk about my brother."
Well, he's using terms that haven't been coined yet, too. So
Right.
And I find it interesting because it's this is very true because society's gone way more than it was in the 90s, but this is already showing in the 90s. Like, wouldn't it be better if we called him, and he gives this long like explanation to it, and he's like, it's just fancy words for saying stupid.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, no, that wouldn't be better.
I mean,
Right.
the distinction is like stupid is recognizable and mental retardation is like
From.
stupid is actively recognizable. And mental retardation is the person overcoming that to function. That was
Yeah.
that was the modus operandi in the 90s. And of course now it's like
But
as
he
George
uses
Carlin joke, it's
something-
way longer.
Mhm.
He used something that's even longer that is like what people would say today.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what he says, but it's like it's a whole sentence to get it out, and I'm like, that doesn't flow often.
Yeah, it's that George
Conversation.
Carlin joke, like you said. Soft word, a language doesn't make the disease softer or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
And then this is the part where he basically wants to see he's like, okay, let me see your ID. Or I don't know what happened here that he has to show him his ID, but he pulls it out. He's like,
Because
what?
they're
Oh,
thinking-
he thinks he's
because-
an inspector of some sort.
well,
Right.
the guy asked for a drink to put on his tab, and it's illegal in that state to have a bar tab.
Right.
And if he's caught by the I guess the liquor inspector, he could lose his license. And so he's like, yeah, but show him your ID. And then now we get a form of ID that never existed in the 90s.
But I wish it
well,
did.
this is like
Yeah, I know.
his
It's pretty
government
pretty cool.
ID.
But it's also like in the 90s, they always thought things would be cool with lasers or holograms and stuff.
Yeah.
So like Predator 2, they all have laser scopes on their guns for no reason to
Well,
make it
I
look
mean, like-
futuristic
Pretty
and
cool.
stuff.
I recently did a job for an airman, and like their military ID looks nothing like our regular driver's license. So I mean, I'm assuming this is supposed to be like the Quantum Leap government issued ID.
It
But
says
then
driver's
it
license.
says
Oh,
driver's
this-
license.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But this was an interesting concept of his physical. There is no longer a physical body in the room, so they teleported that physical body away.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of cool. He's like, Gushy, where is he?
Because when Sam leaps in, whoever he leaps into has to go somewhere.
Mhm.
And he ends up going into the waiting room. That's where Sam's body is. And I like this. See, this goes back to form to like the seasons 1 and 3 theories about how the leaping works, where Sam's body's not there anymore. So he's completely gone. And that's really cool and fascinating. It kind of suggests that, yeah, his soul or his spirit or whatever you want to call it was leaping away. And now his body has gone to meet up with his spirit in this location in, can't remember the town's name, Corksfield or something, on the day of his birth.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And it's nice to see Gushy again. We saw him in the first episode. We saw him in the final episode. We saw him in the
season
one where there
4.
was like that evil guy that went to the future
Yeah.
that broke out of their facility. Yeah. And we saw him in
season 4 when Sam and Al
switched, correct. So, yeah, I mean, this is what I thought was interesting, is that it's a character that we saw so little, but whenever we saw him, we were happy that we were seeing him. That's how I felt when I was a kid, because you always hear about this guy and you never see him. So finally you see him and it's like, wow, it's Gushy. Like they really created that anticipation because it was a name that was used so often, but you wouldn't see him. So I just really like that idea.
You know, they have had, even when you didn't see him, they had the running joke about his breath stinking. That's been brought up a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked in these episodes where we see him to have him eating stuff that would cause that. Like if somebody walked by and he's like there holding garlic fries or, you know, something with a lot of onion in it or something, and somebody goes, oh, come on, Gushy.
It's like, I need it to balance out my diabetes or something.
Yeah, so where did they come up with that name? Lisa could try and ask. And I think
probably because it's a coal town.
Marks for Seven says, oops, no S in Koksberg.
Right. I mean, maybe Gushy was based off of a guy that Don Belisario knew would visit his dad's bar at Halitosis. And he's like, I'm going to remember that for a show one day.
Oh, I thought you meant the town. Where'd they get the name for the town?
So at this point, he's at the bar, and like after the day or whatever it is, all these miners come in, and he's kind of sitting there. I'm trying to think. Oh, now this is the part that he's watching something that kind of reminds him of Captain Galaxy.
Right.
As he's watching this thing, this guy approaches him. He has kind of an accent, and he's kind of confused. There's like a running thing that he does. He's like, oh, them too.
Right.
Yeah.
He keeps like making mistakes and
I love
stuff.
that.
Which is just like, another character of the same name. That only this time you don't have to smack him across the face in order for him to say the right thing.
Which one are you talking about?
So this is Ziggy. And what's the running gag when Al is reading off of the hand link for Ziggy is that he gets partial words or missed sentences. He has to smack it to get it correct. What does this Ziggy do? Well, he says something like, the iodine, and it means the ionosphere. That too. That's the running gag of Ziggy.
Right. Okay, I got you. So I didn't think of that even, but that's actually pretty smart. I agree. And then, so he's here.
And I'm interested in checking that. That apparently is a real show.
Captain Zero?
Captain Zero, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I didn't know that either, but that's a Canadian science fiction show.
Mm.
But I like the joke that when he mentions the other one, like the guy, bringing up the time, like everybody knew every show that was on TV. And he's like, oh, that must be on this station. Yeah. That doesn't come in too well here.
Yep. I'm trying to think what they're saying here.
Well, Sam's just having memories of Captain Galaxy, and this guy's talking about.
He says like he hears Al saying to that Stappa guy, "Oh, like something went a bit caca."
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
It reminded him of Al telling him a bit caca in the pilot episode. He's like, Who uses that term? Nobody uses the word term caca. Well,
Was
some
it-
people
A
use
lot
it.
of Europeans use that term.
Was there some kind of significance to them both drinking their beer and wiping their mouths the exact same way at the exact same time? Do you think?
You
You
mean
know, I was thinking that myself, and I wasn't sure when it happened. I wasn't sure what it meant.
Hmm.
And then he's like, "Listen, if you win this lottery, I'll tell you whatever you want to know." And he's like, "Okay." And then he does that, and he doesn't win.
That's right. You
Meanwhile-
got a lemon and 2 cherries or something, right? Or
Right.
plums.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the part where I think that Gushy is like, we need to, Admiral Calvici, we need to go through every year. Or maybe he says, give me every year that Sam was born in. And then he
Well-
starts from like 1954.
No, they're doing a general search now. And it's
Right.
not until he's about to throw up that he's like, well, let's focus it down to like his birthday. I just got a feeling it's his birthday.
Yes, you're
It's
right.
like, well,
you're
where do
right.
we start? Start with the first one. And so they literally
Right.
start with his first birthday, which would be, 54, not the day he was born.
Right.
This was also a cool idea that we'd never seen before.
right.
Yeah.
Which, like, that he has to go in there trying to find him. I actually thought that was kind of cool. And then back here in this place, I think that this guy is like talking with the guys and he's saying stupid things. And this guy's kind of impatient with him, Stappa, because he keeps doing them too.
Then he tries to get him to spell his name, and he can't.
Right, he can't spell his own name.
Thank you, Mary.
What happened?
You got a super
thank
chat.
you, Mary. Marla sent me the script. Thank you, Marla. Let me find it.
I like how he's overconfident at first. He's like, "Would you like me to spell my name?" Like, and then he realizes he can't do it.
Right.
And then there's something about him also saying that he could lift 26 tons or 24 tons a shift.
Right.
And then I forgot
And
about
then
that
he's like,
before.
16. My grandma could do that.
Yeah, like 16 is impressive. 24 is what he did. And he then talks the story like he was in the water too much and it rusted his bones, which is an old Eastern European term for when you get your arthritis or you get your cramps or whatever, like your bones are rusting away.
Well, and he said it softened my bones too. Is another phrase he used.
Another phrase, yeah.
And then also they talk about something with the radiator, and this I saw now in Marla's script. That's something that he got stuck in the radiator as a kid, and he was zigging and zagging, so that's how he got his name.
He got hit by a donkey and flew into the radiator. And when he
okay,
got back up, he was zigging and zagging, and that's how he got Ziggy as the nickname.
Don't the donkeys tear up the floor? No, or don't they tear up the floor? No, we wear shoes.
Here, there's suddenly a crisis that, like, Jimmy and his brother, I don't know what they're called here, they're stuck in this
Conchampine.
mine.
So, I just want to address Tex Rogers in the chat, talking about like why did they have to do this in the past? Before they were able to link the brainwave from the person that's there to him.
Yeah.
Without the body, whatever they use to trace that brainwave to find him, they don't have that connection. So they're trying to go off of the limited connection that Al has being in sync with him.
Yeah, like the other way that they're able to determine where Sam is that they'll question the person in the waiting room too. So you got the brainwaves, you got the questioning because that narrows it all down. And when that person's not there,
well, Tex was bringing up there's been times when people have been unresponsive, but they were able to find him, and I think that's because they have talked about the link of the brainwave between
mesons and neurons. Yep.
Backyard Tardis. I thought only Al and Sam's brainwaves were linked. That's from Tex Rogers.
Well, obviously the person he leaps to is in because they've done the whole mind
merging thing. Yeah.
But there has to be
Conscience,
because
yeah.
one's in the other's body, so there's a link between them.
I see. Fair enough. I thought that it kind of was quick that it went from this place and then the next scene they're already here.
They rushed down to the mine. Yeah, their
I guess
buddies
so.
are trapped.
Alarm went off. the siren went off and they went off to hell.
Remember, this is a weekly 45-minute show. They can't spend a whole episode traveling to the mine.
No, I understand that. I understand. So here, that mafia boss is here. It's
But
funny
it's also
that they
close
brought him
enough to the
back.
bar because Gushy came in, drank, went back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they don't want to make an effort to bring those guys up. I don't know why they're not making an effort. But,
They make it very clear that right now it's flooded with this gas, and if they send them in, there's a good chance they'll ignite it. If the mine catches on fire, they don't have means to put it out. It'll take a year for it to burn itself out,
I think
and
that's
then in that year they'll have
Yeah.
make no money.
Yeah, the mine will be closed. The town will die. So one spark could set it off. And on top of that, if anyone's down there and that spark sets it off, that's additional men that the owner of the mine is responsible for. And he's doing the right thing. He's like, I'm not risking more of my men for those two. It's a terrible thing. So it takes 48 hours to vent out the gas. They'd be lucky to survive that down there. And I remember when I first watched this as a kid, I was wondering, like, is Sam going to do like a MacGyver thing, like create some sort of like pressure to like pump that gas out faster so that they can get to their buds? Because he's, you know, supposed to be a super genius. But no, we get a different approach.
And a year sounds optimistic because I think that I forget the name of it. There's still a town in Pennsylvania that's on fire underground because the coal mines caught on fire.
and then there's something that basically Stapa now, who's kind of not nice, is saying that Sam is the safety inspector here, trying to give him authority so they can try to, you know, get them out. And then Sam asks him, and he goes, you know, why did you tell him that I was the inspector? And he says, you know, I was those corporate type made me cripple. Company men like Collins make me cripple, so I make them sweat. And then,
And he's been there too many times, going through what they're going through.
And I like the double entendre of that meaning.
so yeah, so you have this. I like this thing. I actually liked how they developed this whole Stapa idea and whatever, this little crisis.
What do you mean by the double entendre?
We'll get to that in the third act of this.
Okay.
So he goes
I
back
like
here.
When he's asking him, he gives him the answer that no, he's not here to help those people, but he is here to help someone who's going to help them.
Right. And then, wait a second. Let me see if I can find Marla's thing to see what more do they talk about here.
What war?
What more do they talk about?
Oh,
Not
this is
war.
the question where Sam's like, I need answers. And the bartender, Al, goes, well, I'm a bartender, a psychiatrist, and a philosopher. He's like, well, I need to talk to this philosopher right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gives him a psychiatrist question, and Sam catches him on it and says, no, I need this. And then,
I think that's later, though, isn't it? Isn't that later
no,
after
I
they
think-
save him?
No, this is before.
I think it's here, and there's a part that he's like, something he mentions Don Quixote. He's like, oh, who knows what Don Quixote can accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
And
This
I
isn't
think-
the part where he's guessing that maybe Al might be actually
not yet.
God.
Next
That's
one.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought that was when he was asking for that, but I know here he was trying to figure out what the purpose of this leap is,
Mm-hmm.
and he feels that this guy knows,
Mhm.
and he's just giving him kind of riddle, almost Confucius says type answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here, Sam does this whole thing, this trickery, where he has like quote unquote the order that he
order.
needs
Order
to go
to
and get them,
inspect.
whatever. But then the
Yeah.
order drops, and then he's like, "Fine, let him go." And then they go and they manage to save these guys.
They
And
say
as-
they don't have enough respirators, and he's like, "You mean resuscitators? Yeah, that too."
That too.
Good old Ziggy, jittering
then-
his words.
And then I think here is this the part where
This is the part where Al's like, "I just got a feeling it's his birthday," and then that's where Gushy starts searching.
And then this is the part where he remembers. He explains that there was a situation where he didn't help.
There's a situation where he likes to help people, and there's one person, and he talks about Al and that he'd do anything for him, except he says, like, that's not true. I could have helped him once, but I didn't because I had to play by the rules. And Al, the bartender's like, well, how'd that go? And then gets interrupted with, of course, the miners are successful in rescuing their best friend.
Yeah, and the cool part was this was cool that this guy leaped.
Right. So this is the double entendre part. Did this guy, has he leapt into this town many times trying to save those two and failed until Sam got here? Or, and this is the other running theory, was Stupa a future version of Sam?
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
So timey-wimey.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Well,
is he
one of the
like,
things that was interesting is that he is revealed to be Al's uncle,
Right.
Yes.
and Al talks about him, yet he died 20 years before this.
No. Al
years?
has an uncle named Stappa who had the same type of arthritis affliction, but this Stappa died in 1933. Came over the boat with Gushy.
because Gushy's about to say that.
Okay, see, I was
Two
kind
different
of
Stappas.
assuming that they were saying that it was Al's.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Just
Right.
more of the coincidence. Every
Okay.
character in that bar is also a character in Sam's life back home.
I thought
In
it
some
was
regard.
interesting that he's like, what about that guy? What about that guy? And they're like, what guy?
Hmm.
Which is kind of cool also. Although to be fair, it's kind of confusing because when Sam leaps out of a place, he leaps out of a person and the person comes back. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they pretend that the person was never there.
But
Right.
this is the first time where there's nobody to replace and there's nobody left behind after he
That
leaves.
is true. You're absolutely right. I accept that.
Yeah, they were saying he was already dead. There's a lot going on in this episode that, part of me was wondering if all of this was real or if this was just some test or trial on Sam.
Like the
But-
whole thing could have been some weird imagination thing, but
Yeah.
I do like this part here where after he already has, he's already nauseous. He's like, well, we tried out all of them except for that first birthday.
It was the
Let's
day he
try
was
the
born.
first birthday.
Plot hole.
What?
Not really. Your first birthday is the
No,
year
I
after.
know. But I'm like, why would you start on his first birthday and not search for his actual birthday?
Well, Al just said start with the first one. So that would be the first
Yeah.
birthday Sam had.
Okay, you're one.
Gushy took it very literally, and the thing is, at that time, Al was also a bit kind of nauseous from all of that spinning. So he just said, "Start from the first one," but like, he didn't really think about it.
I mean,
And
when you talk about your first birthday, you don't talk about your birth.
Right, exactly. So at this point, I'm going to see if I can find whatever Marla sent, and then
Well, this is when he's wanting, played straight to him. What's his purpose? Why is he doing this? And he basically said, why did you make Quantum Leap? Why did you start it? Well, I want to make the world a better place. And do you not feel that you've done that? And he's like, so it's funny because they have said previously that there's like rules that they're not supposed to make major changes in history. But it almost sounds like his initial goal was to make major changes in history to make things better. And not
it's a-
these little.
It's a retcon goal because you want to travel back in time to make the world better, but not by putting right what once went wrong, by understanding our past better.
Hmm.
And what ended up happening is that Ziggy's predicted, well, if you make this guy live in this, and so he can be around for the birth of his daughter, chances are you're going to come back. And that ended up creating the theme of the film. I'm sorry, of the series. But what's great at what Al Bartender says is, you may think that you've only been help impacting a small life, but that small life impacted several others, and then those others impacted several others, and so you actually have way more impact on the world, just by helping out one person, who, for all purposes, could be considered, innocuous, not really important on the big picture thing, but that one person's life that you changed for the better affected a bunch of other people, which affected a bunch of other people and affected a bunch of other people. And that's a really good thing.
I like that whole ripple effect. I like that they explain that.
It makes me think of of course that's but in Doctor Who episode Father's Day, and the doctor says there's a plain ordinary man living in the world that wasn't supposed to be there, and that's the most dangerous thing ever. And the idea that little change, the ripple effects over the decades, could be small, could be huge, depending on what that person does with their life and how they change the world and who they marry, who they have kids with. All of that can have huge effects on the future.
Like a butterfly flapping its wings in Peking.
Yeah. And that's why we have flooding on the East Coast during a heavy rainy season.
So let me see for a second. 1 second. I was looking for something, but I'll look for it afterwards. So finally, when he's talking here and telling this whole thing that you were saying, Al shows up finally. Oh, this is also cool. That in the mirror, he sees a younger version of this guy. I thought that was
younger version
cool.
of Gushy.
A younger version of Gushy, but it's not the real Gushy. But
no, it's that guy's Gushy. That's William Morgan Shepard.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Ira Graves in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I didn't get that. Why did he see the younger version? Thoughts?
Well, it stimulates a conversation where Al the bartender talks more about Quantum Leap, and that sometimes and all the faces that you've seen, that Al's seen in the mirror, that Sam's seen in the mirror of other people. Now he's starting to see what other people in the mirror see of themselves. Because he's looked in the reflection so long, he hasn't seen himself. Now that he can see himself, he can also see something else that others can't see, or others.
And he says, "What's the real world? What's in the mirror, or what's out here?" And so they're talking about the difference in seeing kind of the inner person, and
and that's when Al shows up.
And that's when Al shows up. Well, I've been looking for you, Sam. And then Sam starts telling him this whole story and about Stappa and this whole thing and this bartender, that he may be the person leaping around. And Al's like, I had an uncle named Stappa. And he's like, was your uncle? Did he have arthritis?
Well, that's actually when Al starts to take it serious. At first, he starts talking about, this is Al's place, and there's a Gushy here, and there's this and that. And Al's like, oh.
Sam has maybe lost it. Yeah.
Right.
Whatever happened in the sleep, we got to get him out of here because he's going crazy. And but I would have liked if the bartender had acknowledged Al.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Yeah,
because that would have thrown Al for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if the ending didn't involve Al so directly, kind of like what we were saying about the Angelita or whatever her name was, that maybe it would have been too much if he's already talking to Al. The whole idea that he kind of has this conversation and then about Al and Sam just goes to help Al at the end is kind of interesting.
When he points him out to him in the bar, for a second I thought he wasn't going to be there.
Sam, don't worry. We're going to find you and get you out of here.
Yo.
And then I'll be right back. And then he goes. And then finally...
I like that we got a door in this.
Yeah.
We did get a door.
They've been cheapening out on it, but it's the finale. You need to do it.
Needed to do it for sure.
Door. Yeah.
So then, Al the bartender comes and sits next to him. And this is a cool conversation. He's telling him that his next missions are going to be tougher. And he also tells him you have the power. You can decide where you go and what you do. A lot of very interesting things.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because he says say you're a priest. He's like, I've been a priest. He's like, no. Say you dedicated your life to priesthood. You can move from parish to parish, but sometimes there's nothing wrong with some priests can take a sabbatical before a big assignment. And I like the subtext here. He's basically saying, like, you can go home, for a time, but maybe you'll want to come back and pick up where you left off. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And this really
sorry,
was good. I was going to say, this is really good setup. If they were to have gotten a TV movie, this is giving them permission to go bigger and bolder.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find something unaired. There was something that I was looking for. Oh, okay. I think. I'll figure it out in a second. Okay. So basically, we're here, and this is really, really good. I like the dialogue here that he goes, are you telling me that the leaps are going to get tougher? And he's like, where would you like to go, Sam? Home, but I can't go home. And then he's like, I've got a wrong to put right for Al. You knew that, didn't you? And then he goes, God bless Sam. And then Sam leaps. Really, like, this is such a kind of poignant ending. Is poignant a good word to say here?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, it wraps up Sam's character because he has the opportunity. You're going to get to pick this next leap. And so you could go leap home, be home for a while, or you can go help Sam. So it's his choice. And they're kind of saying in some respects that it's been his choice all along. It's his willingness and desire to do this. He may emotionally want to go home, but a part of him wants to fulfill this quest.
And he's like, Beth? And she's like, how did you get in here? I'm a friend of Al's. And then he says something. Do you think we could sit? I'm going to tell you a story, Beth. A story with a happy ending, but only if you believe me. And if I don't, you will. I swear you will. But instead of starting with Once Upon a Time, let's start with a happy ending. Al's alive and he's coming home. And she's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. That kind of sounded like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but you know
a little bit, yeah.
The realistic response would be an immediate scream.
Yeah, I mean, how did this guy get into her home? I would still be focusing on that part, but
You just appeared. I'm an angel. Okay.
We gotta wrap this up. Can't have him knocking on the door.
right, they could have had him knock on the door. Like, he could have leaped outside. He could leap anywhere. He could just leap outside that door. And then I thought that was pretty cool that, like, Al's picture then, like, does the leap thing.
Yeah.
And then it says Beth never remarried. She and Al have 4 daughters and will celebrate their 39th wedding anniversary in June. Dr. Sam Beckett never returned home.
Misspelled.
Well, no, it's a dentist in Russia.
So how I would have done that ending a little differently is I would have gone to Al dancing with her because he says goodbye right at the end, and she has like a moment where she feels like she senses his presence. That's how that episode ended. I would have played that and then had him standing there so that she already felt like she sensed Al.
Yeah. That would have been
It would have been stylish and cool to do what you said, but whatever they did here isn't the end of the world. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
I think probably the reason why they didn't do it is because this had to be another day of filming that was not the same day of filming of that day. And
Sure.
in Back to the Future 2, they were able to work around stuff like that, but maybe on this production, they weren't sure.
Now, what do you guys feel about like the word conclusions that they give here?
It's a pragmatic way of addressing the fact that they got canceled. They found out they were canceled after they had shot this episode, because we do know that they did start shooting episode 1 of season 6, and that has Al with Beth talking about how he is trying to find what happened.
I have that clip. I want to show it, but there's 2 things I want to show now. First of all, there is they call this alternate ending. I don't know what you want to consider it, but this is the thing. It's very bad quality. I want to say this. This is very poor quality. It's not the fault of whoever uploaded it. It's bad quality because that's just the way I don't
shot
know if
on
anybody
tape.
knows where the original is. Somebody has some kind of underground thing that leaked off the set, and that's why this thing even exists. So we're going to look at this this other one.
I can look at the NBC archives.
You should.
I should.
That's actually pretty cool.
Break into the archives, Ro.
You should
I found it a
totally-
little funny that in the Dr. Ruth episode, they kind of resolved it, and Al gave him permission now to kind of let her go and to love the woman he's been with for the season. And then the end of the show, like, they're wiping out all these women that Al's been with. Like, no, that history is gone. Al's been this faithful, steady husband.
You know, that is the one thing I don't love with that Dr. Ruth episode. And I remember while we were watching it annoyed me. They didn't really think things through, but I'll let it slide.
I'll put it to you this way: how much actual useful information did Al's other wives really provide for Al's frame of reference to solve anything? Because you just kind of talk about them as just an offside tangent, never actually factored into helping Sam out with his leap.
Well, Al would be a completely different person on this. And you're talking about the ripple effects. Would Al have joined the Quantum Leap? Because remember, he found him very bitter, almost, and Sam kind of pulled him out of that.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have been there. He might have been a retired career military person, you know, who knows where he would have been if with this happy ending. So
which is
and
why
they
I
make
think
a
it's
point.
interesting that they made him leap from the picture.
Sam continues leaping. They don't say that Al continues to be his guide.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Might
maybe
get Roddy McDowell again.
Let's look at this clip here. This is the ending that's like they consider this the original or alternate ending, and it includes that additional part that Script was talking about. I don't know if they wanted to play this at the end of the episode, the beginning of the next season, or both, but this is the alternate version. Shows Al with his daughters, like a family man.
Well, wherever Sam is leaped, he's still himself.
Because no one's in the way.
Yeah, and we're going to start a nanotech search in the morning, but that'll take months. By then, he will have leaped again.
Why months? It didn't take me months to find him.
I must have just got lucky.
Admiral probably had nothing to do with it. The two of you are so close, it makes me envious. You'll find him.
She's so sure.
Guess that's
I think this was 4K restoration or AI assisted 4K restoration, but
That's the best quality I've ever seen it, I think.
yeah,
As good as it'll get.
And, you know, given that that's scene wasn't used, it's funny about, what was that, 10 or 15 years ago, that thing that I shared with you, Ro, that was an interview with Don P. Lazario. He said in that in his mind, Al is continuing to help him leap to leap, and that is continuing on. So I thought this was an interesting idea of making it so that Sam was by himself now.
Super Mario Brothers 3 says that some places did spell it with 2 T's. I thought maybe in syndication they fixed it. I don't know. But I think that a lot of places until this day you look at it, it still says 1 T instead of 2.
It was 1 T on my DVD.
Yeah, it was 1 T, I think, where I was looking as well. So it is what it is. And then
Now we have T-Gate.
that's how the episode should have ended. Yeah, it was an interesting ending. I mean, they did put the groundwork to something else. I'm trying to think. There was something else I wanted to bring up. Okay, the Dead Man says it was also not the same song in the other Beth episode. Now this is complicated. I think that it was always Georgia, but the problem is that were years that there was some kind of feud about the rights of the song. So then there were versions that they did, even DVDs or whatever, where they replaced the song with another song. So some people have watched those episodes with Beth, and instead of Georgia on My Mind, there was like something else. Oh, I think Unchained Melody. I think there was an Unchained Melody, and I feel like it was even before Ghost. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was after. So confused. In any case, I think there was Unchained Melody. I don't know. I would have to look into that. I'm not sure. But I thought that in this episode, at least, it was Georgia on My Mind. And it always was.
It was when I saw it as a kid growing up. In
I always
reruns.
remember.
It was like the first place I ever heard this song.
The VCR release replaced the songs. It really destroys the moment. It was awful that they replaced so many songs in those VHS releases. I was really glad that growing up I recorded a lot of the episodes myself, and I had copies that had the original songs. But yeah, it was very annoying.
It's a shame because this happens a lot in video games too, that people didn't have the foresight to know that this stuff was going to be this popular down the road. And so when they work out these rights for music, they don't do it in a way that allows them this future access to that music. And it is so sad when either because they're unwilling to go to the effort to renegotiate it and find a fair price, or they can't, that they change something, and it just changes the emotion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary White says, and this is for $5 super chat. Thank you, Mary. In the leap back, Sam's last words to Donna, "I'll be back. I swear to God, I'll be back." Why even give him a wife? Why? Well, maybe they thought they could still do more there. If they could have had a TV movie, maybe there was a way to bring him home at the end. It would have been nice to get some kind of closure, but I've seen shows that didn't get a nice enough finale like this one. This one at least is workable.
The other thing is when they, just putting real world context, the writers here, they're married when they did that episode. Now they're not married. And, the idea of that might have been an important point, and that kind of might have changed, because when any interview, because I've gone through and I've watched a couple with Barisario, and he's just fascinated with the idea that that's what Sam did for the rest of his life, was he leaped. But that's coming from a guy post-divorce, that happened while making this show. So I could see how that could taint his view of forever love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I think that's an acceptable explanation.
But this
Mary
episode
White
was so good that I had to get online. I don't know if you can see it, but I went and ordered this book. And it specifically, he leaps in to help Al during his imprisonment.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
So it's one of, I think there was like 16 novels following the show that were just basically episodes.
Somebody should do a fan edit of the Star Trek Enterprise episode where at the beginning, Sam leaps into Captain Archer.
Okay, Tracy Alexander says the original was Georgia on My Mind. On the early DVD release, it was replaced. There were problems, first of all, early on with the VHS, but then when they cleared up some of those problems, I think that Georgia on My Mind was still a problem. Like, this was one that held out like for a few different releases, and only finally at some point they worked out all the details. By the way, just so you know, that's why the show Cold Case, you rarely ever see it anywhere when it comes to like even those kind of Roku and all those things. It's really hard to find Cold Case because almost every episode they had going back in time to a time period, and they incorporated songs from that era. And I feel like whatever deals they made weren't good later for streaming. And until today, that's why you don't see that show.
Oh, the CBS cop murder procedural.
You know what? It is a very pleasant cop procedural. It's like
Yeah,
I've said,
it's competently done.
Not to anger Tex Rogers, but the similar, and it just recently got past this, but we had a thing one time when we were talking about Mad About You, Price, and you were saying, that sitcom, Friends, Seinfeld, all these things are popular, but that's never on streaming. They just this year, after we had that conversation, cleared that up, and it's back on streaming.
They're listening.
which one? Mad About You?
Yeah, and it was a rights issue.
I don't think anybody suffered from not having that on streaming. I think that like
I loved that when it was new. That was something I look forward to.
Did you watch the revival? Their follow-up series from like 2018, 2019?
Are you talking about Mad About
Never
You?
knew it happened.
Oh, you never knew it happened. Yeah, they did it.
they
Mad
did
About-
it, but I think
Mad
nobody
About You?
watched it.
No, because
It's funny. Some of these things I'm cued into, but they did so many things, and I don't like when I found out like they did it was apparently horrible, but they did a Knight Rider reboot,
they've
and
done several.
I found out about that, just this past year that they did one, only like 5-6 years ago.
It's funny when Nick finds these things out that have happened like already in the past. I feel like he's waking up and he's realizing that he's on the Planet of the Apes or something.
Somebody mentioned
Well,
a
I mean,
remake of a movie the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot that even existed."
Yeah, well, it's just funny because I see so many of these. I like a lot of the shows from the 80s and stuff, and there's so many of them that are remade, and some of them I enjoy, some of them are bad, and if you want to enjoy them, a lot of times you have to realize that they're not continuations of the original show.
Mm-hmm.
They are a reimagining, and sometimes we lock ourselves. If it's still a good experience but a different experience, it can be enjoyable, and we lock ourselves into that because even something like Lost in Space was a reimagining of Swiss Family Robinson. We kind of think this is a new thing Hollywood does, but I mean, in the 50s they were remaking everything from the 20s and 30s.
Sure.
Is
Yep.
Marla Sharendorf still here? I feel like she went quiet.
She might be lurking.
Professor R2, I think he means he did see that Mad About You reboot, and that one is also awful. I never
Or
liked
was he
that
talking
show.
Knight Rider?
Or Knight Rider.
No, Knight Riders
Yeah.
has always had terrible. There's one with Val Kilmer, I think, did the voice, and then was replaced by Will Arnett, or vice versa. I can't remember. And that was in like the early 2000s.
Here, Professor explains it. The Mad About You finale was a complete betrayal of everything the show was about.
That's true of a lot of sitcoms. Sitcoms have a hard time ending.
Sliders.
Yeah.
I remember Sliders.
Seinfeld.
Sliders
Seinfeld
started
was
off
bad.
good, but then they replaced actors and did weird things. Go on.
Hey,
How I Met Your
Sliders are
Mother
delicious.
was awful.
Well, yeah.
That was like, me and my wife, like we had a whole goat herd named after all the How I Met Your Mother crew, and the whole last season was awful. But this, on the other hand, this show, I think nailed the ending in a lot of ways. I think it was a very good ending that we got here, thought provoking, but in a good way that it wasn't definitive.
Marla Sharendorf, I love Quantum Leap and Knight Riders, the original. Yeah, do you mean Cold Case? It's been on Roku longer than I anticipated, and 2 of our local channels play Cold Case to this day. I didn't know it was on Roku. Then maybe I was wrong. I know for years there was an issue with the rights. I maintain that out of all those cop shows, I enjoy that one because it's the closest thing to time travel. Because basically, anytime like they're looking at a cold case, they hire actors and do a set. If it's somebody that was killed in 1930, they're going to show you back and forth 1930 and present day. And I love the way they jump between the times, and like she's trying to figure it out, but you're also seeing what really happened, and it has sort of a time travel feel to it. I know it's not exactly time travel, but the most you could feel time travel with like a police procedural show, that's it. And I kind of like it. And then The Dead Man. I hated when they say Sam never made it home because he narrated the show as if he was writing a book about his time travel. That is true. Even here you had narration. That is 100%. Lisa Katrine says, I can't think of a finale that I liked besides Newhart. Newhart was the one that he woke up in his previous show or something.
Yeah,
right?
that was a brilliant finale.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, I guess. I mean, there wasn't a lot of at stake there, but yeah.
I know people have a lot of opinions about the Big Bang Theory, but the finale to that was actually pretty good.
I thought it was still being made.
Best
No,
finales ever, The Next Generation, Parks and Rec, and Newhart. The Next Generation and Newhart I saw, so I know what you mean. Parks and Rec, I don't know. I feel like that show just kind of escaped me. I never really got into it.
Parks and Rec has a rough first season, but it picks up amazingly by season 2.
I've seen like scattered episodes of it, but I've never religiously sat and watched the whole thing. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess in Newhart they did something interesting that was a bit different and offbeat, so I'll give them that. For me, one of the best series finale was like Breaking Bad. I think the final episode of Breaking Bad was good. I unfortunately can't say the same about Better Call Saul, which did a really great show up until the last maybe quarter of the last episode. It's so strange that you reach like so far into it, and then in the final like 15 minutes, you just ruin it. But that's for me what happened with Better Call Saul.
Now, Stargate has had many amazing series finales just in the SG1 show, because they keep doing a series finale and then getting renewed for another 2 or 3 years.
That happens sometimes too. Professor R2 says Breaking Bad had a solid finale, but a weak last season. I don't know if it had a weak last season. I think that the last season may not have been as strong as maybe season 3 and 4, but I didn't think it was weak. I still thought that it was pretty well done. Not perfect, but pretty well done. Still better than most shows, at least in my opinion. Deep Space Nine and Voyager had better finales than TNG. Changed my mind. I have not seen the finale to Voyager. I can say that Deep Space Nine had a pretty good finale. TNG had really good finale. Voyager, I have no idea. That Nick can tell you.
I can't remember.
TNG has the best finale. I love Voyager more than anything else. In Star Trek, like that is my show, but TNG had a better finale. The Voyager finale is very action-packed, but in some ways I feel like it is almost like fan fiction. And that it became too overpowered, too much, too fast. And even in Picard, when they're having to deal with, like, Janeway takes out the entire, well, I should say spoilers, but for Price here, but she takes out all of the Borg. That just was too much, you know, in my opinion. Was it good? Was it fun? Was it enjoyable? Was it timey-wimey? All sorts of stuff I love, but it was not as tight-knit and well done as the TNG finale.
The Voyager finale should have been a movie.
It should have. It should have. and but it was interesting. It introduced future kids of some of the crew and they time travel and all that kind of stuff. But it was basically like the show was just kind of humming along, doing very well. And then it's suddenly, well, they're not close to home, but we need to get them home. So we're going to have this big, huge 2-hour finale and they get home. So it in some ways, it feels, like I said, a little fan fiction-y because it's like and then we could have this and this would be awesome and that would be awesome and that would be awesome. But there's reasons why we're not writers. I mean, it's like each and every one of us says, if we were put in Star Wars, we could make it right. And, script probably could, but, and we might be able to do better than what they did. But I have a feeling that all of us, what we would come up with would come off very fan fiction-y. Because we all have this, wouldn't it be great if this and this Jedi did?
We're all fans writing fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having read a lot of writers who are just fans, or a lot of people's work who are just fans but not writers, yeah, it's very rough.
Captain Janeway never returned home.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with them getting home with stuff, although a movie would probably be a better place to do it. But it was just the way they did it, kind of was kind of over the top. And but I think TNG was just, there was so much brilliant writing in the whole him going and then tying into the stuff with Q at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was just perfect.
Yeah. It was a perfect bookend to a series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been on such a journey. Can you believe that 2 years ago we started watching these episodes?
It's
Has
crazy.
it been 2 years? My God.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years.
Hasn't
yeah.
felt like 2 years, which is good.
Yeah, totally.
No, it hasn't felt like 2 years. And I also want to tell people that
Not to
over
me.
the next 6 weeks, every episode, we're going to be doing streams where we're going to discuss each season, highlights, episode that we like, highlight also a number of episodes that we like the most. And in the sixth one, what we're going to do is kind of from each season see what our top episodes were and see what we consider like the best of the best. Just it's a fun way of going back and looking back at some of the stuff. So I hope you guys will still join us in the coming weeks, whoever is available, both on the panel and in the chat. Because we always talk about, is it in my top 20? Is it in my top 30? Is it in the top 50? And I think that it would be nice at least to have an understanding of what the stronger episodes are.
Well, it'll be interesting to, kind of figure out what the top 5 and bottom 5 of every season is, or that, and then compare the seasons by that metric. Which season was the best season? Because we all, have mentioned that this season was kind of on the downer. The first season was, finding its legs, but it'll be interesting to see what season. I imagine it's 3 or 4, but 2 could surprise us. When we go through that, which one pulls out as the best overall?
I think that season 3 is going to beat all the other seasons, but I could be wrong. I feel like season 3 was where this show was really riding the wave, but we'll have to see what happens. It does feel like an interesting journey. I don't think I've ever quite done this before, that like every week we analyze an episode the way we did now. I feel like we're experts on this show. Like right now, I think worldwide, if you wanted to round up some experts to talk about Quantum Leap, the original series, I feel like this is a good panel to talk to about it. And the chat, of course, like this is like the best audience and chat available.
Well, and what we've done here, this is anytime I rewatch any older show, I find a podcast, like I go through and I listen to a couple of them, talk about the pilot, figure out which one I like, or I'll pick a pivotal episode that I think, well, let's see how they get when they get good. Not their first episode, but and I'll pick a a podcast and then listen to that podcast during my rewatch. And so it's cool to do one.
Yeah, we did it. Like now, and that happens sometimes that somebody suddenly discovers our podcast and is watching something that we did a while back. Recently, we have Julie Evans that, now she's hanging out with us here in the chat, but she discovered our podcast on the later side, and she's been catching up and she writes comments. I still have some comments that I haven't replied to, and she actually watches our previous episodes. It's funny because she writes comments as if we did them yesterday, and I don't even remember every single detail of what happened in that podcast, but it's still cool. I love when that happens. And I know other people went through that process too, and I hope that over time, people that as they discover this show and look for it, maybe they'll run into some of the things that we've done, and it'll be a nice way to to see our podcast. It's cool.
It's your legacy, Price.
I
Final
was
thoughts
doing a
on the
better job
episode?
about, and then around like season 3, I got bad about replying to, because I don't get a notification, but I've been going on and I was replying to people. So I got to go back one day and just spend a day looking and seeing people who have been talking to us.
I'll
2,
have
3,
to
and
catch
4
up
were all.
on.
Julie
go.
Evans says 2, 3, and 4 were all the best seasons. 5 had a few good episodes. Tex Roger said, I like the Price response to comments on these. What were you going to say, Sean?
I'll have to do Nick's suggestion of going back and catching all the streams that I missed and catching up with the episodes and totally disagreeing with you guys in my own life.
Sean,
my
there
own
have been a few
videos.
episodes. There have been a few episodes where either we all loved it, or more likely on the episodes when we all hate it, I know it's an episode that you will like.
Probably.
And
I'm sorry I missed out on that
wanna see
Halloween one
your,
a few weeks
epic
ago.
rant in the chat, and then Price can pin it to the top, since you're a member of the panel,
Sure.
so we can see your epic wrong about how we're all wrong.
Marla Sharendorf, I think this is an amazing group and all of you are cool. I'm so happy you're here, Marla. The funny thing is, I hope I'm not embarrassing Marla, but the way that I even, got to know Marla and invited her to come to these streams is that I actually would post these reviews about the new Quantum Leap on my own channel, like on the main channel, and the non-live stream one. And back in the day when I posted these, I would do like a live premiere. And most of the time there would be like, 2, 3 people there at best. Usually it was like Nick. Nick was like all 3 of them. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, like, it was usually like me and Nick chatting or something. And one day there was an episode that I did a review on. I don't think there was anybody in the live chat, and it was just like Marla. And she wrote like, hey, I'm enjoying your reviews. This is nice and whatever. And I was so happy that somebody was even talking to me. And I said, hey, we're doing these other streams. Like, you should go check it out. And I was telling her about the streams. I didn't even know if I'd ever speak to her again. I had no idea if that nice conversation, if I'd ever even hear from her again. And then sure enough, at some point she popped up on one of our streams, and I don't know, it's really cool. At least that's the way I remember it. Something along those lines. I could be wrong. Maybe Marla will correct me, but that's what I vaguely remember happening. And
No,
so the reboot show is out for the next series to review. No, we're not going to do that.
No.
I already, if you go to the, to my other channel, there's reviews there for pretty much every episode. That show is despicable, in my opinion. It is unacceptable.
I'm going to be straight up with you, because I've admitted this on here before. The CW broke me of watching bad content. I got into this thing where I was so invested into the Arrowverse, and I was trying, and I think it was, I'd never started Batwoman. I think it was DC Legends of Tomorrow just got so bad that it broke me. I was like, I can't watch all these shows just for the crossover episodes with Arrow. And then that show and Flash started getting bad, and it just, so I've gotten to this point where if something isn't going to be enjoyable, like, I just don't watch it. Even if it's like a new Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever, like I only watch 2 episodes of Discovery. Like, No, and so no, it's not to say taste differ. There are things that I like that other people don't like. I even like one of the guys that makes the new Quantum Leap show's past work on a couple of different sci-fi shows, but yeah, I'm not
kind
going
of
to
a
watch
hack,
the show.
but yes. Price of reason, I found you through the reviews you did of the new QL. There's a few super chats. I just want to explain something because I think people didn't understand it. When I started my channel, there would be times that my only viewer was Nick. I say that like this is not a joke. Like Nick could confirm that this actually happened, that there would be like a premiere and Nick would be sitting there and it would be him and I watching the video that I posted. Sometimes about stuff that I think Nick didn't even care about what I was making a video about, but he was being nice and showing up. It was very, very
sometimes
nice.
I'm working. Like Price would ask me a question. It takes me so long to respond because he'd premiere this like in the middle of my workday, and so I'd just be on a job and I'm like, "Oh, Price is premiering," and I would hit there and I'd say, "Hi, Price," and then I'd be like picking a lock or doing something.
But that's the sign of like a true friend, not the person that like at some point if there's a few more people watching and then suddenly pops in. This was a situation where like he knew that nobody was watching, so I will always appreciate that, Nick. It's very, very nice of you. And Nick has some great stuff. I don't know, you don't always consistently put stuff there, but
No,
whenever you do, I'm always happy to check it out, and I recommend everybody do that.
With
Mary
the cooler
White,
weather, I'm going to do it soon. But I like, Price, I could tell that you were going to do well on YouTube. And I seem to have a knack for finding people that are going to expand. And I like being there on the ground floor and supporting people. And, but I've got to say, Price, I've been really happy. I've had a lot of experiences of ones that even, not that you're some super, 100, 200.
no, I have like 5 followers.
Mil followers. but you've gotten to the point where you're big, you're monetized, you still interact with me, you still I've had a lot of ones that they get to a certain size and then they just completely, oh well, I'm monetized now and I only care about the people that super chat, and you're not that kind of person.
No, I actually,
We know those kind of people.
we
Yes.
do. I've run into some of those as well. But no, I mean, the people here and this is, I'm going to tell everybody here, a lot of the people here in this chat, like Sean, Rowe, and Nick, Script, I only got to know him, through Midnight's Edge and closer to us doing this show. But the other 3 people here are people that I've known probably for the past 7 years. Where we were in different, chats together in different DM groups and we had different mutual acquaintances, and we've spent so many hours talking about so much sci-fi and nonsense throughout the years. And
Sorry
the
about
fact
that.
that we were able to put together this show and be able to do it, it was so fun. It's not like we're not pretending to be a group of guys that talks regularly like in DMs and says stuff. We really are those people, and this is just a great place we can hang out. And then the chat hopefully feels this, and we feel that kind of connection with you guys. That's what I hope makes this thing special. At least for me, it made it special. And Script also is amazing, and I will always be grateful that when we were sort of putting this show together, somebody told me that Script liked Quantum Leap. And I didn't know if even that was true. And I reached out to him and he's like, yeah, I like Quantum Leap.
I like it a lot.
Right? No, it was true. It was like, because it's a show that's sort of like it's not the same as like a Star Trek or a Star Wars. Not everybody is familiar with it. So it was really nice that you were the type of person that likes this show and likes it in the same way that I like it. And I don't know, that was just really cool. So I'm on a lot of streams with a lot of people and a lot of good people, but I think that out of all the streams that I do, this is like the most positive experience. This is the one where there's just good people doing something positive, talking about something that we're enjoying, even if we're criticizing it. It's done in such a kind of positive way. And like I said, we're going to do these 5 episodes to talk about each season, then a 6th one to really talk about like a proper tier of like the best episodes. After that, there's an idea for something that we can all continue to do. And I think that I'm hopeful that everybody will be into this idea, because I think it's something, now that I know the people on this panel, I've known them, but I know them even better and know the people in the chat even better. I think that my idea is going to be good for everybody. That's my hunch, but we'll tell you more in a few weeks.
I got to say something before we forget.
What is it?
This is so prophetic and weird and cosmic. Today is Scott Bakula's birthday.
That
Wow.
is weird and cosmic.
So happy birthday, Scott. Scott did a great job on this show, by the way. Scott was amazing. Dean Stockwell was amazing. Donald
Well, of
P.
course it is,
Bellosario-
bro. You
What'd
watched
say?
the episode, right?
What? What'd you say?
Cosmic.
The
It's
episode, it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Ah, that's true. It was his birthday, and it's his birthday. It's like a meta inside a meta.
It is completely.
Shout outs. I
Claro.
want to do some super chats here. Mary White, thank you so much for the $5. Mary kind of took some time, was kind of on a sabbatical like Sam, but now she's come back to important missions like shout outs, part 1, Tex Rogers, Tex Rogers, Ron Donafero, Marla Sharondoff, Lisa Katryan, Matthew Marcillo, Matthew McGee, and Chrissy McGee, his wife, Tracy Alexander, Mur Rockstra, Julie Evans. And then the second one is shout outs Michelle Ferry, Kit Kat, Malachi D. Wildman, Caleb Levine, Professor R2, The Dead Man, Marks for 7, Storm King, Super Mario Brothers, and Silver Bear. And then another one. And a big thank you to the panel, Price, Rose, Script, Nick, and Sean. Thank you so much, Mary. You've been so generous, especially since your return. You return, and you're really, like I said, I don't bother people for support and things like that, but anybody that does support, it's always really, really appreciated, and it's very nice of you all. Muroxtra, 522. It's been a great 2 years. I'll still be around on Thursdays, wherever our fearless squid leader takes us. Well, I have a good idea, and I think everybody's going to like it. I suspect that people are going to like it. I'm not just blowing smoke. If I didn't have a good idea, I'd tell you, listen, I don't have a good idea, but I think I have a good idea. And actually, Ro doesn't know it, but Ro inadvertently, once we had a conversation, and he made me think of that idea. And now we're going to revisit
we
it.
don't
He
know what
probably
his
doesn't even
idea
remember
is.
what it is.
So you're to blame, is what he's saying.
Yeah, basically.
Ro, and the final thing I'll say is about that is it's interesting because this show that you're all listening to, a big inspiration for that was actually Nick, because Nick would see that I would watch the new Quantum Leap and I'd get annoyed, and he'd see all these videos that I keep trashing it, and then he said to me, why don't you do something where you celebrate the real show, the original one that you like? Why do you spend so much energy doing this kind of negative thing where you're saying how much you hate this new one? You're never there talking about how you like the old one. And then once I came around to thinking about it, I'm like, well, why don't you join me? And
Oh yeah,
And-
pal.
yeah.
Well, you do
one
it.
of
then.
the reasons why I bring that up, because I see that so much, and it's interesting, talking about supporting new young creators and stuff like that. A lot of the youth that are doing reaction channels or doing these different things, they won't watch a single thing Marvel. They won't watch a single thing DC, a single thing Star Wars, a single thing Star Trek, specifically because of the commentary online. Like they won't even go watch the original stuff because they're like, oh, that fandom, all they do is complain. All they do is complain. They look at it and like, oh, this must be awful because there's nobody ever says anything good about them. And so, if we want people to discover this show and enjoy it, we got to talk about not just why the new show isn't good, but why this show mattered, why it was great, why we love it, why you should check it out. And that's kind of the content that I look for. I don't want people who just lip service and say everything that Disney does is great or something. There are those, but let's talk about why we love these things to begin with. And I think we've done that. And we've been honest. There've been episodes we didn't like, but we talked just how much love we have for this show.
absolutely. Ro?
Is that my cue?
Yes, because I'm trying to pull up all the channels for everybody, so say something.
Well, if we want to go around and do final thoughts on the episode, I really enjoyed it. After watching the episode, I went back and I did some reading and a little bit of research, and I wanted to touch on a little bit that we didn't touch on regarding a lot of the symbolism of this episode, and what it meant to Donald Belisario. His father died young. His father owned a bar just like this. His father was an inspiration to him. And I think there's a lot of things that you can take out from this episode and kind of relate it, not just to Sam Beckett as a character, but to Donald Belisario as the creator of the show. If you go back and do a little digging, you can kind of see a lot of things that were implanted that led to the idea of Quantum Leap as a TV show, that led to the creation of Donald Belisario as a TV executive, a writer, etc., creator of the show. So I think that's what I come out really thinking about, especially with this episode. And I was a little mind blown at the deep connection that this episode had to the creator of the series, if that makes sense. So I really enjoyed this episode, this finale, this final episode, for those reasons.
I agree. Script, what's your final thoughts here?
This is a real good tearjerker of an episode. Don Belisario did a brilliant job being able to connect a lot of the highlights of the success of the previous seasons and all get it into this one point here, even though it was never intended to be a series finale. It was a very good season finale. And one of the things that really worked well on is Scott Bakula's ability to really empathize and convey a whole slew of emotions that just really kind of pull you in. Because that conversation at the end with him and Al the bartender is absolutely brilliant. And it's all it does is it just shows like how this Don Belisario, regardless of how off season 5 did go, he pulled it all back together to what the core of Quantum Leap is in that last episode. And I would love to have found out how he could have done a season 6 and see if he got it back to like season 4-3 quality stories again.
They meddled with him creatively. I feel like he still had more ideas to give, and it's unfortunate, but we'll never really know. But I agree with what you said, Script. Before we go to Sean's opinion, the Dead Man for 199 says you're disposable. And then there was happy birthday to Scott Bakula and John Lennon for 199. Indeed. Sean, what's your final thoughts about this episode?
The first time I saw it, it was like shortly after we moved to Florida from Pennsylvania. So this being set in Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh was really trippy to me. So like just like words that they're throwing around like Duquesne and Iron City and the Pirates losing again. I was like, this is the vocabulary of my childhood. And so I liked it on that level. I really tend now to watching it again to think of the bar as like a purgatory, and
Yes.
Stopa I think of as like a spirit that finally made it out of purgatory and transcended, which makes me think that the way it ends with him, I feel like he's given a choice. Like a lot of people hate this episode for the way it ends, but I feel like he's given a choice, and it shows his character, Sam, where he can either go home and take a rest, or he can go and help Al. And I think if he goes home, he won't be able to ever continue this journey again, really, unless he starts the program over from the beginning. So I really liked the picture of Al leaping, because I feel like that means the entire timeline has changed, and I kind of feel like Sam has become another level of being. Like he transforms into something that continues on and continues to do the right thing throughout time. That's why he never goes home. Almost like a Sam the White or whatever. He has ascended to a higher plane of existence.
I kind of agree with you. I know what you're saying. Ron Donofero for $5. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Price the Panel and, of course, the awesome chat group for a lot of the wonderful Thursday evenings. Well, like I said, there are good things going on, and I think that people will be happy with them. So, first of all, let's do our summary streams. And afterwards, I hope that you'll all give a chance to this new idea that, again, something that I talked to Ro about a long time ago, and hopefully you guys will like it. But I'll tell you more as we get closer to it. I thought there was something interesting that Lisa Katrine said. I think Al knows so much about duty and sacrifice than Sam does, and he teaches Sam how to be the man he becomes. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I'm willing to accept. Nick, final thoughts on the episode before we head out?
Real quick, I just want to...
Oh,
Real
sorry.
quick,
Sean. Yes, go on.
I also just wanted to say I really love that bartender type of character that has the answers but won't give them to you.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No,
And of course,
it's a good
we picked
comment.
the perfect actor for it. I love him, and he played that so well. I love this episode. I mean, they're small nitpicks, but I love this episode. This is a great episode. I like how they tied in some of the major big episodes of this show to this episode. It was very fitting as a finale. There was some in the chat. They were talking, do we think he was an angel? And that is a possibility. I also, the idea, because he's saying that Sam is actually in control of it subconsciously, of his leaps. And so I almost feel like he could also be a manifestation of Sam's subconscious, that he's really having a conversation with himself, helping him discover his spirituality, his essence, or so to speak, was an idea that kind of flowed through my mind. I just wanted to take a moment. I can't list every name because there's so many, and I'm not gonna. But Lisa Katrine, we go back all the way to the first episode. It's us trying to say your name. There's Ron Donofero, Matthew McGee. There's some, but. Mary the White, like these are some big ones that have been there from the beginning. But the biggest one, we just have to. He's been such a supporter. He's called us out on our stuff. Tex Rogers, really,
Ron Donofero too.
If we don't do this, Tex is going to be mad if we skip this week.
I want to also mention Ron Donofero has also been here from the beginning.
Yes,
there's some other people, and everybody here is great. But yeah, Tex Rogers. The thing is that Tex Rogers really dwells on the little details, and he's the type of guy that, like, in some streams, he would just say, "You guys are wasting my time."
Get back on track, damn it.
Back on track. You're wasting my time. So I don't know why. It always makes us laugh. But thank you. We appreciate you, Tex, and we appreciate everybody here. Everybody we mentioned, you guys are all great. And again, we're not ending anything here. There's another 5 weeks of us talking, and then another week, 6 weeks of us doing the kind of rankings, and then doing something else which we think that you guys will like. So sometimes one thing ends, another thing begins. The Dead Man 199, I meant Despicable. Oh, okay. I got it now. Sorry, what were you going to say, Nick?
Pick up your Quantum Leap Revisited merch. I know everyone chose to be here instead of at the 2025 Creative Fashion Show, which is a fashion show that takes place for YouTubers. They decided to be here tonight instead. Not that I think this crowd was going to go watch that, but these shirts are awesome.
Well, thank you very much, Nick. I agree.
I mean, just look at how good they look on script.
And now I'm rushing to the next stream, and you guys are great, and we'll see you here next week. And thanks to the chat. Thanks to the panel. Bye.
I'm such an awesome guy.